But go ahead, continue to talk in the background. That's awesome. All right, guys, it's been about 12 hours. It's actually 13 technically since we were awoken by the sirens this morning, that which were essentially just to announce that attacks had begun. U.S. and Israeli attacks had begun on Iran. The long-awaited imminent attacks had finally begun. And so we have spent the better part of the day running up and down to the bomb shelter. Now, let's just do let's first let's just get to the bottom line. What was the point of this attack? It seems to be, according to U.S., according to both Trump and Netanyahu now, they're talking about regime change. And this is quite possible. I'm going to read to you. I've got notes scattered through all, like on my computer, on my phone, all over the place. So let me try to find, first of all, the report from an Israeli reporter, Amit Segel. He said that it was an Israeli attack that took place at the compound where the Ayatollah, the supreme leader of the Islamic regime, Ali Khamenei, where he was located. It was an Israeli attack. 30 bombs were dropped on the compound. Khamenei's military secretary is dead, and apparently also family members. And he says Khamenei is almost certainly dead. Now, that is more or less confirmed by Netanyahu, who just gave a speech. I am going to find his exact quote. Unfortunately, they did not yet release his whole speech in English. But this is still not 100% confirmed. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, said that Khamenei is alive as far as I know. There are other reports that Israel targeted in these attacks 30 key leaders, and there are some that are confirmed dead. So now, according to Channel 12 here in Israel, Israel dropped some 30 bombs on the compound, and that Khamenei was underground at the location, but not in one of the two deepest bunkers that only U.S. bombs could have penetrated. So in the same report, also claims that his military secretary was killed. Now we got World War III out in the stairwell with our cat and the dogs of the building. Anyway, she's going to have to survive. She wants to go out. That's the way it is. Okay, so what did Netanyahu say? Here, let me find his quote. All right, so he gave a speech tonight just about 15 minutes ago, where he called on the Iranian people to unite and to rise up against the Iranian regime. You hear that? This is hilarious. I said, don't miss the opportunity. This is a once in a generation opportunity. He said, soon your moment will come. The moment when you must take to the streets in your masses, to take to the streets to complete the work to bring down the regime of horrors that embitters your lives. Help has arrived, Netanyahu said in English at the end. So, okay, so let's see. So that is all of the speculation that is now surrounding whether or not the Ayatollah has been killed. Okay, so what now? Is it our cat that's going to be killed? Hey, Lucas, can you shut the door, please? Can you shut the door? She's terrorizing all the dogs of the building. My gosh, see what we have to deal with right now in the midst of all this. Okay, so what did I had a quote. I had a quote somewhere that was so amazing. What did he say? Where is it? Oh my gosh. I told you I have notes everywhere. Oh, here it is. Um, oh, now I can read my writing. Taking out the remaining fang. That's such a great quote. I just appeared on a briefing about the situation with, I think his name is Khosrow Isfahan, and he was talking about that this operation for Iranians who want to see democracy and they want to see Reza Pahlavi, the son of the Shah, to go and take over the government there. But he said that this was like taking out the remaining fangs. And he said when the U.S. launches, so we were only talking about so far. I only know the details of the U.S. of the Israeli strikes, but when the U.S. launches anything, when they really unleash firepower on Iran, there is Iran has no chance, is what he said. Now, that's because in June, the Israeli government there was an operation with Israel and Iran, and the U.S. only got involved at the end. But basically, between Israel and the U.S., they took out massive capabilities in Iran, like missile launchers, other weapon sites. They said they also went after some nuclear sites, but apparently didn't get all of them. But so this went on for 12 days, and it really did damage the Armenian military capabilities, but we don't know to what extent. Now, this person who is from the NUFSD or something like that, I don't even know what it stands for, but it's something for democracy in Iran, NUFDI. Where he was saying that a majority of the people in Iran, especially in the protests that recently happened, from December through now, that they want Pahlavi to come back. Now, Pahlavi is the exiled crown prince who is in the U.S. right now, because it looks like regime change. The government this person was saying the military was extremely weakened in the last war back in June, and if that's the case, there's almost nothing left that they can turn around and face Israel and the U.S. In this current war. Now, what has happened? I mean, right now we're actually in a lull. And I have to say, I'm very surprised that we haven't seen more. Now, in the morning to early afternoon, we had sort of like the bulk of the firepower unleashed. And you know what I have to say? Like in Jerusalem, we always get fewer missiles, but definitely in the center of Israel, they had a lot more sirens than we did. But for us, we went down to the shelter about 6 times or something like that. And that was it. And so it really feels like things have quieted down. And I don't know if that's going to change drastically overnight. Now it's about 9:00 at night here. It's after 9:00 here. So is that going to change drastically overnight? I'm not sure. Or do they really not have firepower to respond to this? What Iran has done is attack not just Israel. I mean, I'm talking mostly about Israel. And I think dozens of missiles launched here. I don't know what the number is. I think it was at some point earlier today, it was 35. And so it could be higher now. It could be about 100. But they have attacked several countries in the region. The Gulf states like Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, even Oman. I don't know if they attacked Jordan or if missiles just landed in Jordan because they didn't make it to Israel. Also, another missile landed in Syria, in southern Syria, on its way to Israel. But the attacks on the Gulf states were supposed to be targeting U.S. assets, like U.S. military bases, but in Bahrain and in the Emirates, there were residential buildings that were hit. In Bahrain, it was a high-rise residential building, and I think in Dubai it was a hotel. There was even one report that said, I mean, it was right behind the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. I mean, definitely you've seen it; it's in the movies and everything. So, and also Qatar, and Qatar, I don't want to say they're more on the Iranian side, but they are not necessarily there. There's, with all the alliances here and there, I was kind of surprised they went after Qatar, but then the US does have a military base there, which was just evacuated. Also, lately, Saudi Arabia and the UAE have had a little chill in their diplomatic relations, and suddenly you might see them working together against the Iran and the attacks there. None of those countries, as far as I know, have responded yet. Just Israel and the US are the only ones involved in any offensive action against Iran. But Iran, the other thing is, no one else has joined Iran. So while no one else has joined the US and Israel, Iran is so far acting alone. And why is this surprising? Because of their proxies that they have. They have Hezbollah in Lebanon, and they have the Houthis in Yemen. And these guys haven't yet gotten involved. Now, both have condemned the attacks on Iran, but they stopped there. They didn't say, and we will come to the rescue, but they did on October 7th, when Hamas invaded Israel and kicked off that war, which only just ended. Like, just ceasefire was just like 2 months ago or something. So last time during that war, so Israel had Houthis in Yemen, they had Hezbollah, they had Iraqi militias, pro-Iranian Iraqi militias, Iran getting involved. They were all involved. This time they're not. They're holding their fire. Hezbollah is holding their fire. The Houthis are holding their fire. So this is very interesting, and hopefully it stays that way. It will definitely keep this limited. I mean, this morning I saw the potential of how this could spread throughout the whole region, just like wildfire, because once they started hitting all these Gulf states, so you're talking about like from the Mediterranean Sea all the way to the Persian Gulf, countries are involved. But it might be contained if these other groups don't get involved. So now, another funny thing I just want to tell you, I mean, I think it's funny, is how all of the operations have been named. So you've got the U.S. The U.S. named its military Operation Epic Fury. Now, I heard that and I was like, oh my gosh, like only President Trump would probably, I mean, it's just like so fitting. Israel, of course, let's go biblical, right? I mean, last time it was Rising Lions. So now it's Lion's Roar, or Roar of the Lion, is Israel's. And then Iran's is like, it's Fateh Khaybar, which is like victory of the Khaybar. And the Khaybar is in reference to a war between, it was like new Muslims, like it was at the time, like it was in the year 600 something, versus the Jews. So it's just like, it's funny how like they all chose like one based on like only Trump, right, would say Epic Fury, right? I mean, it's just such a typical verbiage for the American regime, right? I mean, for America and the current government and the president. And then for Israel, of course, they'll always go biblical. Like once there was like Gideon's something or other, Gideon's chariots, or I don't know. So it's always like they take it from the Bible. And then with Iran, it's always like some reference to some historic apocalyptic, conquest that they had. So anyway, very interesting. What I don't know. Oh, is that new? No, it's not new. It's the same. Okay. So I don't yet have any information on the American attacks and there was just a video released of some of their launchings and the planes taking off, things like that. But Israel just released that Sorry, it's getting official about Khamenei. Okay, so the IDF just released officially that they sent out approximately 200 fighter jets that completed the largest ever military flyover in the history of the Israeli Air Force. So these 200 jets hit 500 targets, including aerial defense systems and missile launchers in a number of locations in Iran simultaneously. Simultaneously, and strikes on the defense systems allowed the expansion of the IAF and aerial superiority over Iranian aerial territory and severely degraded the offensive capabilities of the Iranian regime, the launch sites in Western Iran. So that was what they were doing very early in the day. I heard that they had been going after that Israel had opened up an offensive in Western Iran. So I guess that's where that would make sense, because Western Iran would be closer to Israel where the missiles would be pointed. So that's probably what they were doing. Okay, so it also says in the opening strike, this is going on with an attempt was made. Is this actually from the IDF? Let me see. I just want to make sure. I'm not sure if this is just from this channel or if it was officially, if this is, so I'm just going to read it to you, but this just could be from the channel that I'm reading this from. In the opening strike, an attempt was made to eliminate as many senior officials as possible, mainly in Tehran. The residence of Ali Khamenei in Tehran was attacked, as well as government offices, judiciary offices, military bases, air defense. I said this all. About 2 hours after the opening strike, Iran responded with barrages. Okay, this is just a recap of the day. At the same time, Iran attacked targets in 7 additional countries: Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan, Kuwait, the UAE, Bahrain, and Iraq. Israel is the only one of Iran's 8 arenas. A reversal of the situation. Israel fought in 8 arenas, now Iran. Okay. Interesting. Oh, so Israel is only one of Iran's 8 arenas. Okay, get it. I got it. This must be translated because it's difficult to read. Okay. Oh, okay, so recently, this is going back like an hour, that the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman said that President Masoud Pezeshkian and the Supreme Leader of Iran are safe and sound. Now, right after that, Prime Minister Netanyahu got up and said there are many indications that the Supreme Leader of Iran is no longer alive. All right, so now we're getting officials. This is now finally being confirmed after hours of it being on the screen here as a headline that possibly he has been eliminated. Now somebody is actually stating straightforward, with no name still, he has been killed. So that now it is very much ripe for regime change, if that's the case. Also, Reuters had reported, and other outlets, that they expected the Ayatollah to give a speech. Now they put out on Twitter or something, it looks like, I think it's Twitter, or the platform formerly known as Twitter, the Iranian Minister of Culture said there is no expected speech by Khamenei. Very interesting. Okay, failed interception attempt by the Patriot system at the American Air Force Base. Okay, so a lot of missiles actually hit the bases. We saw a lot of attacks on these bases and in these Gulf states where there is not a missile defense like there is here, like an aerial missile defense here, where most of the missiles that come into Israeli airspace are knocked down. That's not the case over there. So many of these, actually, like in Bahrain, a few things were hit. I think military bases, but also residential buildings in the UAE, same thing, and also in Qatar. It looks like Kuwait. I think in Kuwait, the airport was hit as well. So, all right, I'm still catching up. I'm like rushing through all of my as I talk, like millions of messages are coming in, and it's hard to. I don't want to just read them either because I don't know if they can be confirmed. So I just want to see. Thank you, Anna. And okay, yes, I saw that in Bahrain, the US base got hit, also in Qatar. Okay, and then from Kim, have you seen any confirmation of Israel hacking the Iranian prayer app with hold on, help is on the way this morning? That would be epic, as you are saying. I don't know. What whistling are you talking about? Jennifer says the whistling is driving me nuts. I don't know what whistling you're talking about. I mean, do you mean my kids laughing in the background? They finally went into the other room. Okay. Different video. The Iranian rep couldn't look at the camera. Ah, very interesting. Yes. So you can see here on Israeli TV, they're really hitting it hard now that they're saying that he's dead. And of course, then others are saying, "Oh, wow, isn't that so fitting because it's Purim and Khamanei, Haman, and all this stuff." But, I mean, we've been waiting for this for so long, so I'm not really sure that you can connect it necessarily to Purim. Everybody wants to do that because it makes it so much more spiritually dramatic. Okay. It looks like some other officials were eliminated, that the names are leaking out, and I am not confirming this yet, but possibly the intelligence minister in Iran. U.S. has issued a global travel warning to its citizens due to concerns about retaliatory attacks. That makes sense. They did say that they want to attack U.S. and Israeli assets around the world, not just the countries themselves. By the way, with all of the missiles that have been fired at Israel, there have been a few hits, not on any. I think there's been no deaths. I haven't really heard of any injuries, but there were a few hits of, like, I think open fields and also near buildings or damaging buildings, but nothing bad and nobody killed. Now in Iran, there were up till now 200 people killed. Don't know who that includes or what that includes. In addition to the attacks on the officials' headquarters, there was also an attack on a school, and they say that about 30 schoolgirls were killed? 85. Wow. Okay.
That's
so
it was 35, and then I guess you never know from right away. But then
okay. So
they're saying 85.
Okay, so 85 possibly also killed there. Now, some people are hitting it hard in their own chats that the Ayatollah is definitely eliminated. I will wait and hear something more official. But anyway, we're looking at the possibility of regime change being a lot more imminent than it was yesterday. And if that's the case, with everybody now calling on the Iranian people to rise up, what is going to happen? So I have to say, regime change, the words regime change strike fear into the hearts of many people in the Middle East, because regime change here frequently ends in disaster. I mean, just look at Syria. Nobody wanted Bashar al-Assad to continue there with his iron fist rule. However, once he left, then you had Mohammed al-Julani come in, or Ahmed al-Shara is his other name now. He's got the nom de guerre, but then now they have changed it back to al-Shara because that sounds more whitewashed, I guess. But Giuliani has ISIS and Al Qaeda elements that he took with him that are now part of his government and his army. And what have they been doing in Syria for the past 2 years or year and a half? Uh, Attacking minority groups, going after the Alawites first, because of course, they were associated with Assad. And then, Christian churches have been attacked here and there. There have been kidnappings. Women are being picked up off the streets and kidnapped and sold or ransomed. There then was the attack on the Druze. After the Druze, there was the Kurds, and that was the most recent. So this is, and that's the most recent example of regime change. Of course, we can go back to Libya, you can go back to Iraq, you can go back to, take your pick of countries. So anyway, this is generally what is the fear of people here when you say regime change. So in this conversation that I just had with I'm going to find his name. Esfahan is his last name. Khosrow Esfahan. He talked about the other, because I asked, I said, well, how do we know that in a country of 90 plus million, which is the population of Iran, that everybody there does want the crown prince, Reza Pahlavi, to return? I understand that there was a lot of chanting of his name during the protests and in the streets of Iran, and but were the protesters, though they were in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, that's still, compared to a population of 90 million, do they count as the majority? Is this what people want? And I don't know. I don't know enough. I'm not inside enough Iran to understand and to know. So he said he contends that yes, and also more so than MEK, which is Mujahideen I missed the last word. It starts with a K, obviously, MEK. Their leader, Maryam Rajavi, she announced sometime today that she is going to establish a transitional government in Iran. He was describing this group because I said, well, what about her? Like, what's her legitimate claim? And he said that this group actually might be more hated than the Islamic regime itself. He said that they're very cultish, they're very barbaric in their practices. And anyway, I have to do a deep dive and learn more about them. So, but he said that most people would not want them. Now, what are the Iranian people doing? There are plenty of videos that are out now that they are watching their video. They're taking video of bombs coming in, of whether Israeli or American, hitting targets, and the people are rejoicing. There's other videos, people out in the street, just dancing in the street, women taking off their hijabs, and just hoping that this really is the end. Now, this has been a long time coming, and this is after tens of thousands of people were killed by the regime. The numbers are ranging from 40,000. I think President Trump said 36,000. So we're very close to 40,000, and even higher, some people were saying, for a while, killed during the protests or after the protests. Even in hospitals, like the wounded in hospitals were getting shot. They would go in and see, like, oh, wounded person was at a protest and they were killed. And there have just been funeral after funeral for just the past couple of weeks. Some bodies not even returned. So that is all what's going on. So you can see that people are rejoicing over this and looking forward to possibly implementing regime change. Now, that is going to be the biggest challenge, probably more so than what is happening right now. Oh, gosh, this guy, I don't know if I can believe him. Yes, okay, it's coming in other news sources. So I will tell you this. I do not want to say, if I only see in one, not a news source, just somebody who talks a lot, I don't want to say it, but somebody, okay, so Channel 12 is reporting that there is evidence that Khamenei's body was found in the rubble and was presented to Prime Minister Netanyahu. But how do you do that? Who took the picture and presented it to Netanyahu?
Maybe they're spies there.
Maybe there's spies there or something. I don't know. So this is getting a lot closer to official. A lot closer. All right. So who is this? Ooh, look at that. If this happens, like, let's say that's true. You just look at the past year and a half, they took out Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. And that was even after the pager operation. Do you guys remember the pager operation? This is the amazing thing. Like, while Israel, somehow October 7th happened and the very not as well armed group called Hamas got through the border, it's not even a border, it's a fence between Gaza and Israel. And they rampaged and ended up killing 1,200 and kidnapping 250 into Gaza. On that day, the Israeli intelligence didn't look that great. But then somehow, I think it was in August or September of like 24, 25, it's like all a blur now. It must have been 24, but I don't remember. They somehow simultaneously 5,000 pagers went off in the hands of Hezbollah operatives across countries, like at least in Lebanon, if not also Syria and Iran, and killed many and wounded many. So if they did that, and then a couple months later, they actually got Nasrallah in his bunker in Beirut. And I mean, this is like precise intelligence to be able to do things like that. They also, after that, no, I'm definitely not going to remember the year of this one. Was it 2024? No, that was the helicopter crash. Okay, forget it. So the helicopter crash, because then Iran's president, was it Raisi, was killed in a helicopter crash. And then right after that, there was a new president and they went to the inauguration. And it was either that the Hamas leader, was it, the name, I know, who was the Hamas, not Khalid Mashal, the other one. Anyway, he was in Tehran for either the funeral or the inauguration of the new one. And he what do you call it, was at night at his home or at a room, like a hotel room or a guest. Thank you, Ismail Hania, at a guest room in Tehran. And at like 2 a.m, a bomb went off in his room. Like nobody, how do you plan the exact day, the moment, the room he's going to be in at that time? No, a long time ago. A Hamas leader. No. Today, yeah, something else happened today, but go back to TikTok or something. That was it. She's like, oh, today? No, door closed, whatever. Okay, so, somebody here saying that I don't think he's dead. We may never know. I mean, is Epstein dead? What are they saying now, right? Okay, Mary, thank you. It was 2024, September 2024, when the pager operation happened. And then there was Nasrallah, if you want to fact check me on that, because I don't remember that. And how do you know that includes 51 daughters died, 85? Oh, you're talking about, yes, of the school. I think you're talking about the school girls. Yes. So let's see. Well, I mean, I'm sure Iran also thinks that they need to retaliate. So let's see what happens. July 31st, 2024 was Ismail Hania. Thank you. Was killed in his guest room in Tehran. Yes. Okay. So there was that. And then Nasrallah. So anyway, as you can see, like obviously there is insane intelligence capabilities that are obviously being utilized here. So don't know what we're going to see now. Is this the end? Another attack on Kuwait right now by Iran. So now I think we really are just wait and see. First of all, we have to wait and see if Khamenei has really been eliminated. Then we have to wait and see if they have any sort of military capability to take revenge on the U.S. and Israel. I mean, it looks like they are sort of taking revenge on both at the moment. But I have to tell you, it is not quite what I was expecting. It's been a lot quieter than I was expecting. I was really expecting things to be completely unleashed, but at this point, it's been quiet. We've had a lull for quite a few hours. So yeah, so we'll wait and see about what happens tonight. The footage of the extraction of the body of Khamanei. Oh, come on, that one. I'm sorry, I can't believe this guy. I need somebody real to verify that for me. So let me see if I have any other.
He's saying something now. Cuts.
Oh, let's see. The defense minister here in Israel. Never mind him. Okay, so yeah, let me just see if anybody else is reporting this here. I'm going to check another news site just to see. I mean, is Al Jazeera saying anything? Can anybody check?
Let me see if I can access Al Jazeera.
Well, I get their, I can get them on Telegram and YouTube. Let's see. Iran says U.S. attacks are only in, well, they're not saying anything about that. Trump calls for regime change as well. Netanyahu says many signs supreme leader may be dead. Iran's retaliatory strikes raise concerns about potential wider regional conflict. Yes, because everything else in the world seems to, in the region is being attacked. So anyway, I think that is about it. I mean, it's never that's about it because the news just doesn't stop. You know, even as we're talking, I'm getting distracted by all of the headlines popping in, none of which I can confirm on the spot. Oh my gosh, but this guy has 41 new messages. Oh my gosh. That one, I got it. And he's usually very accurate. Oh, that's funny. The UAE told their residents stay at home. We were just talking to a cousin. It's a news outlet. We're talking. They're a little. You can't. I don't know. You need to confirm. No, that's an Israeli reporter that's there. It's the one I don't trust his first thing out there. So, anyway, Tony has cousins in the UAE, and they said that their only form of safety, their instructions are just stay at home. Now, for us, like it's stay near a bomb shelter, but at least we're going to get a warning. What we do is we get like an alert first that is probably more jarring than the missiles itself, I have to say. But this alert comes in on your phone that a launch has been detected and it will probably be coming to your area and you might get a siren soon. So stay close to a shelter. And then if it does turn out to be the case, then we do get the siren like in our area. There have been times we got the first alert, but no sirens. because maybe it was shot down like before it got to Israeli airspace or something like that. But we, so we've had quite a few today. But the people who are in the Gulf states have none of that. So, and the people in Iran have none of that actually. So we do have missile privilege, I guess, over here to know that we should run to a shelter. But there aren't shelters everywhere. Tony's mom lives about 5 minutes away, and she does not have a bomb shelter anywhere near her. So that's the case for a lot of people around here. Okay, if anybody's going to be accurate, it's this guy. So let's see what he's saying. Oh, too long. All right, never mind. Too much translation involved in that one, so I'm not going to bother reading it now. All right, I think that would be it. If you have any questions, ask away. If not, I am going to go try to get a good solid couple hours of sleep before we get another siren. That's why UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Saudi would be under attack. The Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, the Strait of Hormuz, by the way, I did forget to say that because in the midst of all of the Ayatollah news that Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz. So anyway, so that's it for now. If you, I would say, definitely subscribe and try to get alerts, because when I go live, you can get an alert that I'm going to be on live, and then you can join. And if you want to support my work, you can go check out my Substack, where I will be writing about all of this in detail. So anyway, thank you very much for joining. I will see you. Good night, I hope.